All right, everyone, welcome back to the Deep Dive. We are going deep into the heart of the 41st millennium today
Oh, yeah.
with Nocturne by Nick Kyme. So if you haven't read it yet, maybe go check it out and then come back to us. Because we're diving straight into the heart of the Salamanders with this one.
We are going deep. This is a spoiler-filled deep dive into Nocturne. This is one of those books that just grabs you by the throat and throws you into the fires of war.
Yeah, you always know it's going to be a wild ride when you've got Salamanders on the cover.
Absolutely. And Kyme, he delivers.
Oh, yeah.
He really captures the essence of that chapter.
And for those who haven't had the pleasure, we are talking about the Fireforged Space Marines themselves.
Yeah, the Sons of Vulcan.
So to set the stage for us a little bit, can you remind everybody where we even are in the 41st millennium? What is a salamander?
Oh, man, what is the salamander? Okay, so imagine you've got Space Marines, right? Which are already the best humanity has to offer genetically engineered superhuman warriors.
The poster boys of the Imperium?
Yeah, for sure. But even amongst them, the salamanders are unique. They're these stoic warriors forged on a volcanic hellhole of a planet.
Right. It's not like a paradise planet or anything.
No, not at all. Their whole thing is fire, right? Like their Primarch Vulcan, he was all about fire. So they've got these crazy rituals, this Promethean cult, where they basically worship the forge.
Yeah, they're the blacksmiths who became the best warriors.
Exactly. And their weapons, oh man, don't even get me started on their weapons.
Yeah, these guys do not believe in subtlety, do they?
No, they do not. You want a gun that shoots regular bullets. Too bad, you get a flamer.
Yeah, a flamer that could melt through a tank.
Everything's got to be bigger and hotter with the salamanders.
So where does Nocturne drop us in the middle of all of this?
So Nocturne kicks off with the salamanders facing threats on like every front.
It's never simple, is it?
Never. First, you've got this Chaos Space Marine sorcerer named Nihilan.
Okay, a chaos sorcerer that's never good.
And to make it even worse, he's a former salamander.
Oh, so one of their own turned traitors.
That's got a sting. Yeah. He's got a serious axe to grind with the chapter. Apparently some mission went bad in the past. He feels like they abandoned him, and now he's out for revenge.
So he's going to take it out on the whole chapter. Yikes.
Pretty much. And he's not just there to burn some stuff down. He's after something big.
Like what?
Vulcan's lost artifacts.
Okay, so we're talking powerful relics with the potential to shake the Imperium.
Oh, yeah. We're talking weapons and artifacts that could change the tide of the entire war against chaos.
Okay, so we've got a chaos sorcerer with a vendetta and a shopping list for some of the most dangerous relics in the galaxy.
And if that wasn't enough, the salamanders also have to deal with the Dark Eldar.
Ah, the Dark Eldar. Those guys are bad news.
The worst. Specifically this Archon Ansker. He's like the embodiment of everything cruel and sadistic about the Dark Eldar.
And he sees an opportunity to cause some chaos.
Oh, yeah. He sees the salamanders fighting amongst themselves, and he's like, time to kick them while they're down.
So what's his angle? Just to watch the galaxy burn?
Basically. He's in it for the loot, the slaves, and the sheer thrill of causing pain and suffering.
So we've got internal betrayal, chaos space marines, and sadistic space pirates running around. What could possibly go wrong?
You're about to find out. Kyme really doesn't hold back on the action and the brutality either. Like, get ready for some seriously intense battles.
Oh, yeah. This book does not disappoint when it comes to the grim darkness of the 41st millennium.
No, it does not. Kyme captures that perfectly.
So let's talk about some of the characters we meet along the way, because Nocturne has a pretty colorful cast, even for a Warhammer 40k book.
Oh, yeah. You've got everything from loyal salamanders to scheming chaos space marines to sadistic Dark Eldar.
It's a real who's who of bad guys.
It is.
But one character that really stuck with me was Sugin. I mean, talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Oh, man, Sugin. Yeah. He's a salamander who gets captured by Nihilan's forces pretty early on in the book.
Yeah, and he goes through it.
He goes through hell. I mean, torture, both physical and mental.
But what makes Sugin so interesting isn't just the physical torment. It's the psychological warfare Nihilan wages on him.
Exactly. Nihilan wants to break him, but not just physically.
Yeah.
He wants to corrupt his soul, turn him to chaos.
So you've got this one salamander, isolated, tortured, and constantly being bombarded with chaos propaganda. It's a testament to the salamander's beliefs and their loyalty that Sugin doesn't completely snap.
Right. Like, how much can one Astartes take?
Seriously. But while Sugin is enduring his own personal nightmare back on Nocturne, things are going from bad to worse.
Oh, yeah. The entire planet is basically becoming an inferno.
And that's where our friend Ansker comes in, right?
Yeah.
The Dark Eldar Archon we talked about earlier.
Oh, yeah. Ansker sees an opportunity to basically kick the salamanders while they're down, and he goes for it.
And he doesn't pull any punches, does he?
No, he does not. Ansgar launches a full-on assault on Prometheus.
Prometheus. You mean the Salamanders' mobile fortress monastery? Their home base?
The one and only. He attacks their home turf.
Talk about a bold move.
And Skur doesn't care. He's there for loot slaves, anything he can get his hands on.
So we have one of the most important Salamander strongholds under siege by psychotic space elves. What could possibly go wrong?
You know things are bad when you're hoping the Chaos Space Marines might be the lesser of two evils.
No kidding. So what happens? Do the Salamanders manage to hold off the Dark Eldar?
They put up a hell of a fight, I'll tell you that. We see some seriously epic scenes of the Salamanders defending their home. Chaplain Elysius is in the thick of it.
Oh, Chaplain Elysius. Now there's a Salamander who knows how to bring the fire.
He is intense, wielding his Crozius Arcanum, smashing through anything that gets in his way. But even with heroes like Elysius fighting for them, the Salamanders are facing overwhelming odds.
It's like they just can't catch a break.
No kidding. And as if things couldn't get any worse, Nihilan decides now would be a good time to make his move.
Oh no, this can't be good.
It's not. Remember how Nihilan is searching for Vulcan's lost artifacts?
Yeah, the whole reason he's on Nocturne in the first place.
Exactly. Well, that search leads him to Hesiod, one of the most important salamander cities on the planet.
And I'm sensing this isn't going to be a friendly visit.
You would be correct. Nihilan lays siege to Hesiod, hoping to uncover the secrets of the Engine of Woes.
So we've got two massive battles happening simultaneously. The Dark Eldar are attacking Prometheus, and Nihilan is laying siege to Hesiod. The Salamanders are stretched thin.
To say the least, they're fighting for their lives on two fronts against enemies that want to see them wiped out.
So what happens? Do they manage to hold off both attacks?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Just when all hope seems lost, a beacon of hope appears on the horizon.
Okay, you've got to give me more than that. Who or what comes to the Salamander's rescue?
Remember, he's Aidan, the Salamander's legendary forge father.
Oh yeah, he's dating. The one who's been off on a centuries-long quest to recover Vulcan's lost artifacts.
The very same. He returns to Nocturne bearing not only powerful relics, but also the weight of his prophecies.
But I'm sensing this is where things get really wild.
Oh, you have no idea. Stan basically rocks up to the battlefield and he's like, "Hey everyone, I've got some good news and some bad news. The good news is I found Vulcan."
Wait, he what now?
Yeah, you heard that right. His Volstan drops the biggest bombshell in Salamander history. He is Vulcan.
He's Vulcan is Vulcan, the Primarch of the Salamanders, this whole time.
Yep. Turns out Vulcan didn't just disappear. He was out there doing Primarch things for millennia, and now he's back.
Okay, I am speechless. That is some next-level 40k craziness right there.
Oh, yeah. It's a total game changer. And, of course, the timing couldn't be better, right? The Salamanders are on the ropes. Their homeworld is literally falling apart, and bam! Vulcan walks in like he owns the place.
I bet the Dragon Warriors and the Dark Eldar were regretting their life choices at that point.
Oh, absolutely. Imagine you're a Chaos Space Marine thinking you're going to have a fun day burning down a planet, and suddenly a Primarch shows up.
Yeah, talk about a bad day at the office. So what does Vulcan do? Does he just unleash Primarch fury on everyone?
Pretty much. He grabs his trusty Spear of Vulcan, which he just happens to have on hand, and proceeds to wreck everyone's day. The Dragon Warriors, the Dark Eldar, nobody's safe.
So it's like a one-man army of Primarch-powered awesomeness?
Exactly. But there's a cat. Remember Dakir, the Psyker, who's linked to the Engine of Woes? Well, Vulcan's return triggers the engine's activation.
Of course it does, because why have one world-ending threat when you can have two?
Right. So now, not only do the Salamanders have to deal with Vulcan's return, they also have to deal with Dakir, who's been transformed into the Fire Sword.
A fire sword. Okay, that sounds terrifying.
It is. Imagine a being of pure fire wielding unimaginable power. It's basically a walking apocalypse.
And I'm guessing Vulcan's not too thrilled about this turn of events.
No, he is not. He came back to save his sons, not fight them. But the fate of Nocturne, maybe even the entire galaxy, is hanging in the balance. So he has to do something.
So does Vulcan manage to stop the fire sword without killing Dakir?
It's a close call. It's a battle for the ages, a clash of fire and fury that leaves Nocturne scarred. But in the end, Vulcan manages to subdue Dakir. But it's a bittersweet victory. Dakir is alive, but he's changed forever, scarred by the engine's power. His fate is left uncertain.
So a Primarch returns, a planet gets scorched, and a brother is broken. Grim even for Warhammer 40k.
That's the 41st millennium for you. But hey, at least the Dark Eldar got what was coming to them.
Oh yeah, what happened to Ansgar anyway? Did he get roasted by a Primarch too?
Nah, he got a different kind of justice. Turns out, when you're a sadistic space pirate who makes deals with chaos, even your own people think you're bad news. He gets betrayed and killed by his own Dark Eldar. Karma's a real jerk sometimes.
I guess even in the 41st millennium, what goes around comes around. So where does that leave everyone? What's the final verdict on Nocturne?
Well, the Salamanders are left to pick up the pieces. They face down chaos, they've welcomed back their Primarch, and they've saved their homeworld. But at a cost. They've lost brothers, they've seen the horrors of the Wark firsthand, and they're left with more questions than answers. It's a victory for sure, but it's a victory that leaves them forever changed.
It makes you think about the nature of war, the cost of victory, and the sacrifices we make for what we believe in.
Exactly. Nocturne is a story about faith, doubt, and the bonds of brotherhood tested in the fires of war.
It's a reminder that even in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, there's still hope, compassion, and the unwavering spirit of those who fight for a brighter future.
And sometimes that hope comes in the form of a giant fiery Primarch with a really big hammer.
Can't argue with that. So there you have it, everyone. Nocturne, a story of betrayal, heroism, and enough fire to melt your face off.
If you haven't already, definitely check it out. It's a wild ride from start to finish.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive into the grim darkness of the 41st millennium. Until next time, stay vigilant out there, and may the Emperor protect.
And may your bolters never jam.